Greetings, housemates. I'm Phwop, and this is Endless Legend. Endless Legend is a grand strategy game in the vein of Heroes of Might and Magic, or I believe it's Might and Magic Heroes now. We're going to be running through the introduction to give you an idea of how the game plays. It's a mix between Civilization and, like I've said, Heroes. I've really enjoyed it. It's by Amplitude Studios. They take a lot of time to let players interact with them on how they design things. There's a whole player designed, it's kind of like they give you three options and then you vote. And the more you're into their products, the more weight your vote carries. And that lets you interact with how they designed the game. There's a whole faction designed by players, basically, in this way, that is very, very interesting and kind of unique compared to any race I've seen. So, let's jump in. Tutorial basics. Welcome to Endless Legend. This game introduction will guide you through the core elements you'll need to know to play the game. If you played Civilization, a lot of the main thrust of these things is going to be familiar, but the way it's implemented in here is just, I think it's awesome. I think it's incredibly good game design. So it's a bit different than you're used to. Welcome to Auriga. That is the planet all this happens on. Auriga is actually located in the Endless Space, which is a sci-fi turn-based game similar to Master of Orion by the same studio, universe. So, yeah, there's a bit of sci-fi, and yeah, within the context of that sci-fi universe is this kind of fantasy medieval planet that has a little bit of high-tech in its history. All right, so in order to survive on this dangerous world, you'll have to build a mighty empire and face powerful foes. Your tale begins here with your first army. It is looking for a good location to settle your first city. Select your army by left-clicking it. Boom. On the bottom left is your army panel, the First Iron Legion. All armies are represented on the map by the strongest unit among those composing the army. In that case, our settler. So we see our settler on the map. Your army is currently composed of only a single unit, a settler, represented by several pawns on a hexagon. The settler gives an army the ability to found a city in a neutral region, that is a region that does not already contain a city. So the world map is broken up into regions, and each can have only a single city. A very interesting way of breaking up the world and allowing you a lot of freedom in where you place your city. Unlike in Civ 5, where you simply can't build within X number of squares of a city, in this one, the regions are all broken up and balanced, and where you build your city is up to you. It can be right next to an enemy city that is up along the border, but then that doesn't give you much room to expand. Fog of War and Unexplored Lands. Your army can see a distance of 3 tiles from its position. You can also zoom in and out with the mouse wheel for a better overview. Observe. Splat. The region of Splat. Shaded tiles represent areas you have explored that are not in your field of vision. Beyond that, the gray Fog of War hides mysteries, areas you have never seen. Armies share a few attributes. Life represents the sum of the health points of every unit in your army. So it gives you just a general idea of how much life is within a given army, but not the individual units. Movement points determines how far your army can move in a turn, depending on terrain penalties. Movement points for an army with several units are determined by the unit with the lowest score. So your slowest units, pretty standard there. And vision range determines how far your army can see on the map. Vision range for an army is determined by the unit with the highest score. So one high vision unit is enough per army. But of course, movement, one slow unit will slow your whole army down, so. It costs 1 movement point to traverse most terrain tiles. However, some tiles, like forest, can cost more. Sure, we're all used to that, Civ style. Each region has a fixed frontier and can only contain one single city, which also exploits the region's terrain resources. Alright, we'll see how that looks in the future. Terrain resources are food, industry, science, and dust, or FIDS or FIDS is generally how it's referred to. These resources are the same across all Amplitude games. Endless Space uses the exact same resources. Dungeon of the Endless, which is a weird hybrid tower defense RPG dungeon crawl roguelike, also includes these resources. I think it's quite clever. The weird one is Dust. Dust is actually... it's basically nano... There was a race that had achieved like physical perfection through nanotechnology long before one of the like primordial races of this mythos. And when that race perished in a conflict with a race that had achieved pure electrical, you know, like living within machines, Ghost in the Shell style existence, their bodies became the dust. And dust can be, it's basically reactive to, it's basically psychic. You can use it to do magic. And it's also the primary resource. So it's a very, very flexible thing in the storyline and even in the games. It's powerful and useful. Basically, it's gold, but it's also magic gold. All right, to help you decide, you can toggle the display of the terrain resources on and off. Click down here, and you can see the hexes and what goodies you get for them. Note that some tiles are worth a lot more than others. You'll be used to this kind of thing from Civilization. For most of the major factions, it is best to select a location for a city that gives access to these terrain resources on the surrounding exploitation tiles. To found the city and colonize the region, select your army, click on the colonization army action, and then click again on a tile your army can reach within your turn. Alright, the best way I found to do this is, of course, you can click somewhere else. The 1 there indicates that that is where you will end this turn. So we could build the city here or here. Those are all good choices anywhere around here. And if we chose further away, it would take them a turn to move, and then next turn they would found the city. Nothing too crazy here. The best location is probably this one. I like to add up the total output here. So you got 17 plus 8 is 25, plus 4 is 29, plus 6 is 35. That's outrageously good. The approval bonus is nice too. That'll just keep our kingdom happier. Here, more approval. Let's see, what is that? That's 29. That's actually 37. What? So we'll go ahead and found our city here. You're not going to get any better than that. I would say that... how many tiles do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 25 is a minimum for founding a decent city, unless you strategically need to place it there for some reason. And anything over like 30 is looking good, and anywhere close to 40 is fantastic. So yeah, we're gonna settle here. Industry is really important for starting cities. It has a little less industry than this position, but that's fine. The extra approval is really nice. You might count each approval as 2. All right, so you see our city grows out of the ground here. Select your city by clicking on its center or one of its surrounding tiles that compose the exploitation area of the city. So that means all these tiles, we're getting goodies for them. You don't need to assign a citizen to them. We get all the goodies from all the tiles near one of our city districts every turn. And this is the only district we have, our city center. Congratulations, you now rule over an entire region. The region of Splat. Your city center, plus the 6 tiles surrounding it, will collect every turn their terrain resources. The city center, as a city district tile, automatically modifies its initial terrain income, providing more dust and science, but a bit less food. City tiles also provide a unique resource called influence. So here you see FIDSy. That is food, industry, dust, science, and influence. So the city center, yeah. The worker panel details all the city resource income scheduled for the next turn. Per worker production, resource from tiles and potential modifiers all have an impact on the total production you expect from your city in the next turn. You can mouse over these elements and see the tooltips for more details. So this rank shows us if I put a person here, like we have one person here, we'll get 4 food. And if I assign a person here, we'll get 4 industry, 4 science, 4 dust, or 2 influence. And then of course the plus city tiles is simply a flat amount we're going to get no matter what. And then we have some modifiers, a little bit extra food from being happy, and a little bit of food consumed from having a population. Yep, the palace, what you get for your first founding city, gives us a little extra work, happy, palace, happiness. You can see a little bit of upkeep out of there. And then of course you get your total. You can move a worker from one column to another in order to determine which FIDSI production you want to boost for the next turn. So like here, boosting your industry is a good idea. Food production cannot be stored. Excess food is automatically used each turn to produce additional city workers. So you can see your worker progress here. The green part of the population growth bar shows that you're about to get an additional city worker next turn. All right, so we're about to hit the thing. This tells you how many turns till your next worker. At the end of the beginning of next turn, we'll get one. City growth, stock, upper limit, city lower limit, yeah, all this stuff. So yeah, excess food doesn't do anything. Food gets used up immediately. Industry production also cannot be stored in your city. It should be used to construct new city improvements, units, or regional expansions. The city should also have something queued for construction, otherwise the industry resource for that turn will disappear one turn later. So if you don't have anything queued and it'll ask you to assign something. And if you don't assign anything, then it'll waste a whole turn. But if you do assign something, I believe you get, yeah, I'm certain you get the industry you should have. So as long as you keep assigning stuff or you have things queued, you're good. The list of available constructions shows what can be built in your city. The City Improvement Founders Memorial is available. City improvements are constructions giving different kinds of bonuses to your city. They can be built only once per city. Pretty sure Founders Memorial can only be built once in your whole empire. Yeah, it says so in the tooltip. Like many interface elements, you can get more details about the Founders Memorial by mousing over it and reading the tooltip. All right. Cue the Founders Memorial by clicking on it. So the Founders Memorial looks like it's going to give us extra everything, and we can build it right off the bat. This one-time construction creates a memorial to your leadership in the founding of your empire. Commerce, patriotism, and politics will ensure it grows quickly. A great little boost to the beginning of your game. It takes 4 turns thanks to our population, otherwise it would take 5. The construction at the top of the queue will use your city industry production for X turns, 4 in this case, until it is built. As you can see, a certain number of turns will be required to build the Founders Memorial, as it costs 60 industry. Sure. You'll need to develop your science to get an edge over other empires. Science is aggregated at the empire level, so you just have 1 stock of science, and used to research new technologies. All right, that all makes sense. Similar to industry, you must keep researching new technologies if you don't want to waste your science. Sure. From the main banner, open the research screen to learn more about research. So this is where things deviate significantly from civilization. The research screen is where you help your empire evolve through technology eras as you struggle toward a brighter future. The basics are, you have science and industry techs always on the right quadrant. You've got military techs above. You've got economy and population to the left. And you've got empire and expansion below. These are always separated like this. It doesn't mean that you won't get economic and population, like some benefits from technologies in other places, but that's the basics. There is no tree. You can research in any order any of these at once. And once you've researched enough, you will be able to start researching Tier 2 technologies, Era 2 tech. And then once you've researched enough of these, you'll have access to all Era 3 techs. So it's an interesting way to go about it. And it gives you a lot of flexibility in what you research. Like, you don't have to go archers because you need horses. And a matter of fact, you can't research all of this. You'll find yourself... yeah. Come back to that. Only the first of the 6 technology eras is currently accessible. Each era is represented by a circle regrouping a number of technologies. To enter a new era, you must research 9 new technologies from the previous era. The order in which you do your research doesn't matter. So we have to research 9 of these before we can start researching Tier 2. Once we unlock Tier 2, these are more powerful technologies. So we're not going to want to research more than 9 of these if we can help it. And then we're going to try and research 9 of these, which means you're always leaving some techs behind as you proceed forward. And it's really hard to choose because every time you research one tech, the other techs get more expensive. Yes, the cost in science automatically increases for each new technology you research. In addition, researching in a more advanced era also costs more science. So, unless you want to stall out, you can kind of stall out if you keep researching old technologies instead of working to unlock the next and the next and the next, which makes your technology choice really intriguing. I found it to be much more deep than I thought. Some technologies directly unlock new powers or bonuses for your empire, while others unlock city improvements, expansions, or units that can be built in your cities. For example, this unlocks one of our units, our cavalry unit. It tells us all the abilities it has, and that's all it does, just a brand new unit. Let's see. This unlocks a city improvement, the mill foundry, and this unlocks the army action parlay and the army action bribe. So yeah, you can see there's a lot of different things in here. Each research is just one thing. It's generally not like an empire-wide ability plus a building. Blue circle technologies are already known, green ones are unknown. So you see, we start off initially with open pit mining, which lets us build extractors on various resources. Alchemist furnace, which allows us to to build extractors for titanium and glass steel. And the ability for our armies to parlay and bribe. Starting technologies are a big power for each race and something that's mixed up. Also, different races have different technologies, although usually not that many different ones. Still more than you'd see in Civ. Several technologies can be selected in a row. They will be researched one after another in the order selected. Food and industry technology are usually a safe way to begin using your science. You can hover the mouse over each technology to learn its effects. Once selected, a technology will take a fixed number of turns depending on your science output. Right-click can also be used to step back through menus. So you can right-click whenever you want to go back up a menu. What we're going to do here is, this is an excellent start. 6% 6 extra industry flat out and 50% more industry. That's a great little building. Building things is always important. And of course this would be a nice one as well. Seed storage, plus 10 food on city during summer and plus 15 food on city at all times. Summers are the seasons they're going to cover later, but also an intriguing addition to the game. But yeah, there's so many things to look at. This is an interesting one, for example. Army Action Search. Reduces by 10% the odds to loot nothing after a search on ruins. Increases by 5% the odds to get a loot or an event. So taking this action makes looting the ruins, you know, similar to the Civ ruins, significantly better. And if you focus hard on this, then you can loot some really, really good stuff or get excellent quests. We're going to go with Mill Foundry. And we're going to queue up seed storage after that. And then we'll just right click and we're back. End your turn when you're ready by clicking on the end turn button right down here. All right, the population of Splat has grown to 2. You'll note that it's going to be a while before our next little industrious citizen pops out, and our citizen one is immediately added to industry for us. So we'll dismiss that. Thanks to your food production, yep, there are now 2 workers available in the worker panel. The borough streets and expansion construction can now be selected from the list of available constructions. Expansions must be directly placed on the map and can be built several times. For most major factions, every 2 additional city workers, so we've got 2, makes 1 new borough available for construction. The borough streets enables you to extend your city exploitation area by building a new city district next to an existing one. So I told you our city center is our only district right now. We can build another one. To queue the borough streets construction, click it, and then click on one of the exploitation area tiles next to the city center. So this is a super cool way to grow your cities. We select an area and we build an additional district next to our current one, adjacent to any of ours. So we're basically going to spread the city like this by building boroughs, and this will grab 3 new tiles for us to exploit. It'll reduce the food output here by a little bit, but it'll increase it everything else. So observe. I think this is best. It's definitely best to check your total output and try and grab these special tiles or work towards tiles. Like if I really wanted that, I could kind of work my way over. We're just gonna go right. We'll go right here. Well done. Like any other queued construction, your new city district will be functional only once construction is complete. Sure. Sometimes you can build massive buildings that take up a whole tile on one of your exploitation tiles, which is just super sweet. Keep in mind that both spreading your cities too widely or settling new cities can cause your city approval to decrease, impacting your food and industry city production. So we're pretty happy. We're not having any troubles like that at the moment. Of course, our borough street is not yet complete. So you'll note that among the effects here, we get 10 less approval due to this city tile, 1 less food, and then we get 1 more of everything else. And we even get some approval per extra level on city tile. We'll talk about that in a second. So you lose and can gain approval depending on how savvily you build your city. End your turn when you are ready. Don't forget that you have a world to explore. Scouting with armies will be your best way to discover the unknown. To create new units and explore the area, you must create unit designs. The unit Marine has a unit design in the list of the available constructions. Add 2 copies of the unit design Marine to the construction queue. All right, unit design is also a bit more intense than other games, but you only have 3 or 4 units to worry about throughout the whole game. The 2 units are queued, but several turns are required to build them. So dust, the most precious resource on Ariga, hasn't been introduced yet. It is stored at the Empire level and can also be exploited by your cities. Each turn, city improvements already built. Oh yeah, so this is your dust stock and your expected income. City improvements already built cost a small amount of dust for their upkeep. The total upkeep of your city improvements is summed up here. Note that you will be able to use the browse button to see cost details. Can't do it right now. Dust can also be used to directly buy out queued constructions in order to get them built in the next turn, just like Civilization. Note that you can scroll the list of queued constructions as well as drag and drop them to change their priority. Click on the buyout button of the 2 units queued. So instead of waiting 17 turns from now, they'd both be done, as well as borough streets. We're going to buy them out for 225 cash. Note we've got 2k or so. There we go. That's 1, 2. End your turn when you're ready. So there's no limit to the number of things you can queue up. When it comes, well, any number of units can be purchased, but only one building, I believe, can be purchased per turn. All right, construction completed on Marines and the Founders Memorial. Nice. And then next up is Borough Streets, you see. And it tells you the city, so this is a nice little condensed view. Okay, once a unit is constructed, it is placed in the city garrison. Like other constructions, each unit created consumes a bit of dust for its upkeep. You know, the upkeep is 1 dust each. We also have militia. Militia are super cool, and if someone attacks your city, or if you fight near the city, the militia will join you. There are also freebies, and then there are some improvements you can build in the city to make militia awesomer. So I really enjoy that. And they gain experience and level up over time, like all of your units do. And they are replaced if killed slowly. The grayed out units in the garrison are your city militia. They cannot leave the garrison unless the city is under attack. Garrison units, including the militia, are always the last bastion that remains to defend a city against an attack. Your current max garrison capacity is 2 units. This capacity is the same for all the cities and armies within your empire. This max capacity doesn't include the militia, and it can be increased by unlocking new technologies. So more military tech can let you really increase the number of units you can garrison in a city. You can create new armies from the garrison. Select the 2 units, or click select all, then click on new army. So we'll pick these 2, control click, new army. Congratulations, you now have a new army that you can send to explore the surrounding regions. However, you need to limit the number of armies, as they also have an upkeep cost that must be paid each turn, just like the upkeep for each unit. So armies have their own upkeep on top of the unit upkeep. And you'll note that, yeah. Auriga has many ruins to search. Any of them can provide you with rewards, so if you find one, you should try your luck. Ruins tiles can be searched on the map are shining. It is now up to you to decide when to end your turns. Remember to check out your city construction queues as well as your research queue and army movement before ending turns. When exploring with your army, white dots indicate the army path for the turn. And the yellow ones, those for the following turns. You can maintain right-click while mousing over the map to simulate your path. Your army will move once you release the mouse button. Alright, select your army, and right-click on the map to move it, and look for some ruins. End your turn when you have no movement points left. So, here are some temple ruins. The shape and size of this ruin indicate a religious community or a religious or community purpose. It's in better shape than some other sites. They certainly are worth investigating. There's some titanium. We know we can build extractors on that. There's some dye, a luxury resource. And here is the Sisters of Mercy. This is a minor village and also counts as an expansion. That is, we could not build a district on top of it. So we want to go here. And sure. So we'll move, our 2 Marines will move out to this position, reveal some terrain, and next turn hopefully they'll get to this temple ruins, or right next to it actually, because the forest will take 2, oh no, we have 4 movement here. Yeah, so the cool thing about ruins is everyone can search every ruins once, and it doesn't remove them from the game when the first person gets to them. So you don't have to rush out and beat everyone to the ruins. They'll be there, although they may be in territory that you'll have to use diplomacy to get past. Keep exploring until you find some shining ruins. We totally found these ruins. When standing next to a ruin, select your army, then right-click on the ruins and select Search. Or use the button Search located in the Army Action panel. Sure thing. Our army is selected. Let's move. Our 6 little Marine Templar here. And then we can So you can search here, or you can just right click. Select your army interaction with this target. Search. Search for clues at this location, which can reveal treasure, enemies, a quest, or nothing. When you perform this with a hero, this action provides a base value of 10 XP. Your search of the location was worth the effort. 30 dust. Awesome. Ruins can give you unexpected rewards or nothing. As you play, you will discover different ways to increase your chances of getting a reward when you search a ruin. Ruins may also give you quests to complete, which will provide additional rewards. Quests are awesome and can get you some really strong stuff, or they can be kind of impossible for you at the moment. Generally, they're better. To explore more rapidly, you may want to split your army by selecting one or several of its units, then right-clicking on the map. You can also use the split action button once the units are selected. In a similar way, you can choose to merge two armies by selecting one and then right-clicking on another one beside it. You can also use the merge army action button when two armies are standing next to each other. As movements, note that splitting and merging cost movement points to the splitting merging units. End your turn when you're ready. So we've got one movement point left. Let's go ahead and split. Easy enough. We select one person and we're going to send them this way. And that used up one of their movement, just like a normal move. And we'll send this one this way. And I think we're ready. How's our construction queue looking? Borough streets coming up and nothing else too interesting. Research complete. Mill foundry. So that's a city improvement that we can now build at our city. And our population has grown to 3. It'll save us one turn to do that. Sure. I want to queue up this mill foundry, and I think I want to build it first, as it'll speed up the production of the borough streets once it's done. Or we could go ahead and buy it. Yeah, we have a ton of money. Note that when we swap it to the front, the amount of industry spent on borough streets does not switch to the mill foundry. It is still on borough streets. However, whichever one we did, it wouldn't matter. So let's do that. Please select your army again. It is time for you to make contact with the native minor faction living in your region. Each region has one minor faction. Minor factions are hostile. There's only one minor faction per region living in 1 to 3 villages. Villages contain units for their defense, but they may also spawn roaming armies that could attack your armies or cities. Use the Parley army action on one of the villages. The village will give you a pacification quest. By completing it, all the villages in the region will instantly be pacified and will no longer create hostile armies. That's a good thing, if you hadn't guessed. When standing next to a village with your army selected, right-click on the village and select Parley. So this Sisters of Mercy outpost is our minor faction. And alright, you have encountered a new minor faction, Sisters of Mercy. The Sisters of Mercy are a small but respected nation, living simply though well in their solidly constructed towns. A recent offshoot of other humanoid peoples, they are content to dedicate their efforts to giving mercy where and how they deem it is most needed. So Sisters of Mercy only have one type of unit. The Justiciar is an infantry unit, and so you can assimilate these villages once they're pacified, and for every plus 5% health regen per pacified and rebuilt sister village on Empire. So for every functional non-ravaged village, because you can ravage the village instead of completing their quest, you get 5% increased health regen across the whole nation. So what minor factions you choose to assimilate, you can also then build their unit anywhere in your empire. So yeah, which factions you choose to assimilate increase the strength and breadth of your army, as well as giving you some nice passives. Let us parley. So note that we can attack, bribe, or parley. and that if we had a hero, they would get XP from either of the non-combat actions, and of course you would get XP from fighting as well. So we're going to initiate negotiations with a minor faction village. If we fulfill their demands, all the villages in the region will be pacified immediately. Otherwise, we have to attack and crush them all and then rebuild them all. Or you can just pay up. You might also get something really good from the quest they give you, so let's see what it is. Alright, you have just received a pacification quest from the Sisters of Mercy living in the region. It has been added to the quest screen that contains a journal of all your quests. You can open the quest screen up here through the notification or by left-clicking on the button in the main banner. We also get a notification over here. Alright, so the tribe leader needs your help. A hostile monster has been raiding and threatening their villages, and they lack the military power to stop them. If you wipe out that threat, the tribe will view you as a savior. Here it tells you what to do. I wish that wasn't in the way. New objective. The tribe has identified their enemy's lair in temple ruins. To find the monster, search the ruins with an army of at least 2 units. So then you can dismiss, minimize, show location, and you see that you're going to get 5 die resource as your reward. So show me this location. Alright, so there's a temple ruins out here. There's a monster in it and they want us to kill it. Also note that we have a quest originating from this village, so if we attack this village, we'll fail that quest. And this is the quest screen that tracks all your quests. It's a little confusing at first, but bear with. You can hover the cursor over the quest objectives to get more details about their completion. The Ray of Dust shows the exact location on your map. Here's what die does. Show the location by clicking here. And note this is a 2 objective quest. That means it's 2-step quest. We do this and there's something else. I believe this second step is kill the monster. This one's piss it off. You can also use the pin button to track a quest. It will then be displayed at the top right of the screen as a reminder. Where is that pin button? So we'll have this up here waiting for us. It's not timed like some quests are, but it should remind us to do it. Go back to the world map in order to complete your current quest. So we're going to right click to return here. Quest marker indicates the specific ruins you have to go to and search for this quest. The location will even be visible through the fog of war. Please note that for other quests, the markers may only be visible within the vision range of your army. It all depends. Complete the Sisters of Mercy quest in order to pacify all their villages in this region. Sure. So we've got 2 units. Is it enough to pacify these monsters? Hopefully. Note you can just right-click one of those things to send them away. Plus, it's always good to go to ruins. Note we'll still be able to search these ruins. And then what are we building up here? Oh, we're good. Mill Foundry completed, Burrow Streets is out, and it'll be done 1 turn faster thanks to our Mill Foundry. How is our science going? Seed storage is going to be done in 5 turns. Let's finish it up in the Burrow Streets in 3 turns, and the seed storage in 3 turns seems like a better mix for us. Okay, now we're fine. So we told these guys to go. They're going. We're going to turn off the terrain. There's the village. I think I would rather be in this space. And note, if we let them auto move, we won't be able to do the quest this turn, but note that these are impassable wall-y things. Like, we have to go around them, which makes movement a little tricky sometimes. Alright, select your army interaction with its target. Search. Quest updated, Defender of the Weak. So this is our second objective. To pacify the Sisters of Mercy in Splat, help these hapless neighbors against the depredations of the monster. So the tribe has identified their enemy's lair, find the monster. So we get 5 die just for searching it. That was our first objective, so we get a reward. Now we found it, survive the battle, but more importantly, make sure the monster dies. We will get 10 titanium and pacification. So if you bribe them, you pay resources. If you assault them, then you spend time in industry, and of course you have to fight. If you parlay, then you can get some serious bonuses for free and maybe fight and find out some other stuff. So parlay definitely has the most, it's least expedient, but the most. And of course it works on all villages at once instead of crushing each one individually and rebuilding it. All right, you can now attack the army. Any attack will cost 1 action point to your army. An army can only use 1 action point per turn, so use it wisely. So searching doesn't count as an action point. And each army can only attack once in a given turn. It's separate from movement, and we're going to do it. You're about to launch into battle against an army. Here is your encounter panel. Note the battle takes up place directly on the terrain of the adventure map. This is really cool and something I love about this game. Depending on the balance of power and the terrain of the battleground, you may prefer to play a simulated battle in auto mode, where the unit movements and attacks are handled by the computer. Definitely worth it sometimes. You're just going to look here and be like, blue versus yellow. We're blue. We crush. We could just auto do this one and not have to take up a lot of time, especially when you're playing with other people. The default army strategy can also be selected in manual battles. You will be able to set it more precisely unit by unit. So offensive, defensive, hold position. Offensive, when their respective orders cannot be fulfilled, the units will take an offensive stance by default. Defensive stance by default when they can't do whatever. Hold position. Click on Ready to Fight when you want to start the battle. It is currently set for manual. We're totally going to go manual. We don't want auto. We want to see this in action. So note that a certain area of the adventure map is basically locked down. This is our arena to fight in, and the units just spread out. This is super cool to me, super cool. As you can't leave this zone, but you actually fight on the terrain that you move across during the game, which is awesome. Welcome to the battleground. This is more of the Heroes of Might and Magic aspect of the game. During the deployment phase, your units spread out from your army's leader's position across the tiles shaded with the color of your empire. Your opponent's army does the same thing on its tiles. The battleground is delimited by the white border. So we were here, they were here, so we can spread out anywhere on these blue zones. They can spread out anywhere on the yellow zones. All units start by taking their default positions. Your opponent's unit's positions are only an estimation and are likely to change when battle begins. So he may not actually be standing there when it starts. During a battle, note that you can always click in out of the battleground if you want to manage your cities or give orders to other armies at the same time. Select one of your units on your side of the battleground. Bink. All unit information is listed in the unit panel: class, attributes, capacities, status, effects, level, and strategy. All sorts of stuff, right? So we are Marine, ranged unit, life, attack, initiative, speed, defense, damage, all good things. Attack. Yeah, so we'll see how that actions. So we've got a range of 3, techno lover, 50% of the effects provided by equipment made with the same resources. Holy, we'll get around to that. Cannot be sold on the marketplace. Point blank power. Plus 10% attack when performing a close range attack. Block. 10% defense when attacked. And sharp sense 1. 20% defense against ranged attacks. Positive morale, no effects. And we're level 1. And the strategy here is, if its command cannot be executed, it will go on the offensive. Unit class, infantry, cavalry, ranged, flying, or support, determine the way a unit can move and attack on the battleground. Life is the amount of damage the unit can sustain. Attack determines your ability to inflict damage, that is, to hit or critical hit or miss. Defense reduces attack odds, so defense just negates enemy attack. Initiative helps your unit strike first in a battle, and damage determines the hit score, the damage inflicted when you successfully attack, and of course is multiplied when you get a critical hit. Speed determines the number of tiles units can move per round. Attributes can also be impacted by other factors: relative position, altitude, and terrain. So standing next to your own units is good. Having altitude, higher levels is good, especially for ranged, and being in like forest can increase your defense. When next to friendly units, morale is increased, increasing attack and defense of all those units. Unit elevation. Units also increase their attack when attacking from a higher position, melee or range. And terrain. Forest tiles increase unit defense, and a city tile increases morale. Capacities are special abilities like perks, automatically used by units when attacking or being attacked. The ranged capacity, for example, gives the maximum distance from where a unit can attack. You can mouse over these to get more details. The deployment phase enables you to change the position of your units at will. Select a unit and right-click on a tile of your empire color to set its new position. Then press ready once you're happy with your troops' deployment. For example, we can move here. The closest position he can be is this yellow one. And we are behind a wall, so he can't move directly to us and attack. He'll have to move up and attack, unless he's got some special ability, which we can look at. Beam overrides the default attack. Allows to attack enemies behind the initial target up to 3 tiles. Sometimes the wording is a little strange. This is a Nordic group. So whoever he attacks, he'll hit all the tiles behind him. So if he attacks here, he'll go boom, 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 which means we do not want to line up our tiles. His speed is 2. Let us position ourselves here, and we should be safe. Note that if we had reinforcements coming, they would pop up at one of these 2 locations. These are our reinforced zones. So we're spreading out instead of going for increased morale from sticking together. And we're hoping to weaken him and kill him while using these walls to limit his mobility and ability to attack us. What else does he do? Sweep, strike back 2. Overrides the default counterattack. Deals damage to the attacker and opponents next to both the unit and the attacker. 75% damage. So when he's hit in melee, he will counterattack if he hasn't attacked already. And he'll hit extra people. Alright, press ready once you're happy with your troops' deployment. You can also use these buttons, advance units towards enemy, to just be more aggressive in general without hand-picking locations, or retreat. This will work for your whole army at once, so it's a nice way to be aggressive and then nitpick a couple of points. And then of course you can reset them to their default place. You have entered the first targeting phase of your battle. You can now decide how your units will perform their actions for the first round of the fight. So this is the beginning of the standard round. Placing your units is the beginning of battle. Now we're beginning the first round. Alright, so we're saying this is the target. Pretty obvious, right? Each unit will move and attack each round. The initiative bar shows the order in which units will play during the resolution phase, depending on their initiative attribute. Note that if a unit is attacked, it will automatically counterattack using its action prematurely for that round. So it looks like our units will go first, and then the enemy unit will go. Select one of your units. For each unit, you can also choose between one of 3 strategies for default targeting behavior. Aggressive and cautious will set more or less aggressive targeting, while hold position will order your unit to stay where it is and to attack only within its range. In addition, you can also manually select a destination or a target unit. Your unit will then try to focus on it during the resolution phase. Note that you can even select a position and then select a target unit in order to have even more control. So right-click and control-click. Select a unit, right-click on a tile or an enemy and set a default strategy, then press launch when you're ready. So this is kind of confusing the first time. Can I close that? No. Okay. So what we want to do is so since we go first, what's going to happen is we hit launch and this guy is going to move forward if he's set to aggressive and attack. His range of 3 means he has to move forward. And he'll actually get too close to this enemy for my comfort. This one, however, can attack the enemy from where they are. I'm going to set both the hold position, and we're going to get 1 free attack, and we're not going to expose ourselves too bad. This one, actually, let's tell it to move there. All right, so observe, my friends. So the battle plays out. Our units go first. We get our nice attack. We deal 34 damage to it. And it comes close, but not close enough. Battles last 6 rounds at most. Each round, a new targeting phase begins so you can tweak or adapt your strategy. Now finish your enemy. The outcome of this battle is up to you. All right, so we're back in the targeting phase. We get to go first, and he can reach either of our units if he survives. So in this particular scenario, well, we still don't want to line him up because he can do damage in range. We're probably just going to go all-out aggression. We can... can we attack from... Yeah. Let's do it. He'll get to attack one of us. But if he's only got 100 health, we may just win right here. Boom. So the 6-round maximum is nice because it means that fights just won't drag on too long. And it makes it much more likely that you'll have a kind of like standoff or tie. Congratulations, you won your first battle. The troubadours prepare their songs. Whatever the result, surviving units always earn experience points from enemy units killed. Earned experience points are equally shared between units. So they're not split. All units simply gain XP. Or maybe they are. Yeah, maybe it is split up per unit. So smaller armies will advance more quickly per unit. Draw situations can also occur when there are survivors on both sides. In that case, another battle can be launched if an army still has remaining action points. After closing notifications, select your city again. Alright, so we defeated the Rumbler. And we completed the quest, giving us pacification and titanium. Congratulations, all the villages in your region are now pacified. Seeing your courage and conviction, the Sister of Mercy tribe is glad to become your ally. Alright, so Sister of Mercy has this sweet little blue flag over it because, yeah. And was there another Sister of Mercy? Oh, it looks like we got... You can now see the effect of the pacification. 3 village workers have joined your city from the 3 pacified villages in your region. So, pacified village, each adds 1 city population. Look, boom! That just doubled our population. So, instantly. So, a lot more effective than trying to crush each individual one. Definitely the best way to go about converting minor factions. Pacification is also possible village by village if you attack each of them. However, in that case, you would then need to rebuild each village to obtain these workers. So you can crush villages to stop their attacks, and then you can rebuild them via your city's industry. But, of course, that's a pain in the butt when you can do nice quests like this and get sweet rewards. You can also just bribe them, but then you won't get the quest rewards, and it costs money. I mean dust. The Empire screen is the global dashboard that lets you review your Empire status and take critical Empire-wide decisions. You receive some luxury resources as a quest reward. There are 15 different kinds of luxury resources to discover on Auriga, each of them granting specific bonuses to your Empire. Once used, luxury resources stay active for the number of turns indicated in their tooltip. The more regions you have, the more expensive luxury boosts will be. What they're saying is, we have 5 die. And you'll note, while I hover over this, that at the bottom of the tooltip, it says booster cost 10. If we had 10 die, then we could activate this booster, and for, let's see, the effect is a duration of 10, 50% more influence on cities, and plus 5 approval on cities. So for 10 turns, at the cost of 10 die, for 10 turns, we could get more influence and more approval in our cities. Every one of these different luxury resources has different effects, and some of them are really awesome. Really awesome. But basically, the more cities you have, the more it costs to activate each booster, so you'll need more and more die. Each major faction has its own affinity and traits, with powers and bonuses specific to them. Yeah, so all sorts of stuff here. Here you will find all the Empire bonuses currently applied on your Empire. So because we're happy, we get 15% more dust and science. Every 20 turns, all the empires can set at the same time an empire plan. Must set, I will add. By spending influence, remember our cities produce influence. Specifically, our districts produce influence. You generally can't get it from the adventure board. You can unlock various powerful bonuses that will affect your empire until the next empire plan. So every 20 turns, you can say, I want to focus more on science and industry, or empire and expansion, or military, or economy and population. And you can spend influence to gain bonuses, and they are sweet, sweet bonuses. And actually, your empire will come to depend on them, and it'll be harder and harder to change your mind, or at least you'll face repercussions. By opening the status screen, you will be able to review your progress and that of other empires. The screen also gives you more info about the different kinds of victories you can achieve if you mouse over the explanations. Status screen. You can also decide to spend influence to assimilate minor factions. Assimilation will give you useful new bonuses and the unit design of the minor faction as long as the minor faction stays assimilated. So we could assimilate the Sisters of Mercy, for example, and then we could build the Sister of Mercy Justiciar unit, just like we can build our own Marines. To assimilate a minor faction, at least one of their villages must be pacified within your empire. Remember, you recently pacified villages in your region. Click on the assimilation slot on the empire screen and then on assimilate once you have selected the Sisters of Mercy. So here we are, the Sisters of Mercy. We get this unit, we get this bonus, increased health regen all across our empire. And the more of their villages we control, the bigger the health regen bonus is. In this case, pleasantly, they had 3 villages. Remember, it's 1 to 3 villages per region. So this is like the maximum health regen. Well done. The Sister of Mercy minor faction now gives you 15% health regen in all of your regions, and their unit design is available to be built. For now, you don't have enough die resource to activate its effect. So go back to your city and find out more about luxury extractors. All right. A dye deposit was discovered in your region. Remember, it is up here. making the die luxury extractor available in the list of possible constructions. Extractors allow you to collect luxury resources from your region every turn. So similar to Civ 5, where you have to build a mine on top of copper, or you have to build a marble, you know, whatever extractor on top of marble. You have to build a die extractor, but you don't need to send out a worker to do it. You can just put it in the queue, and it'll ask you which die deposit you want to add it to, and boom. In 4 turns after the borough streets, our die extractor will be completed. Note that strategic resources can also be collected by building extractors if your region contains the corresponding deposits. So this is luxury. Strategic would be titanium, I think, which is nearby us. Also, if you build a district on top of it, it will be an extractor. Remember that, like most constructions, extractors normally require specific technologies that need to be researched in different eras. They are then available for construction in your regions. You can improve your units by creating new unit designs using the strategic resources you have collected. We currently have a small amount of titanium. We got that from our Sister of Mercy quest. We have 10, but we're not producing any. From the main banner, open the military screen to learn how to create new unit designs. So this is also significantly different from anything, really. The military screen lists all your armies, their individual units, and cost and upkeep. Note that you will be able to double-click on an army to locate it on the map. In addition, the military screen is also where you edit existing unit designs and create new ones. Click on New, and then select one of your units to enter the unit design screen. So, New. Let's go with Marine. Here you can edit unit designs that will then become available in the list of possible constructions in your cities. Depending on the unit, you can add different weapons, armor, and accessories to unit design. These will improve the unit's attributes or even give them new capacities, that is, like new perks. As you can see with the Tier 1 titanium items of the armory, some items also require strategic resources to be spent when the unit is constructed. So what it's saying here is this costs titanium, and so you can see the cost at the bottom of this tooltip. That means 10 additional industry to produce and 3 additional titanium, but this necklace gives us glory or death, whereas this one only gives us improved movement. This one also costs more industry, and this one is cheaper in industry. For example, this ring iron good improves our vision and gives us sharp sense 1 at the cost of 12 industry. This titanium ring improves our damage instead and costs us 10 industry and 3 titanium. So basically, if it costs a resource, it's generally better, but the other ones aren't shabby either. And we can choose crossbows or longbows, and all sorts of stuff for our equipment. So while there are very much fewer units in the game, there is a ton of equipment you can use to design units. Once you're happy with your design, enter a name and click on validate. So I want improved movement is really good. Right now we only have a crossbow and a shield. Longbow is two-handed, so we'd have to go up on our shield, and that we would lose block and sharp sense. What does glory or death do? So if we double click it, our accessory slot is filled with glory or death, plus 1/2 morale per adjacent enemy. No, I would rather have improved movement. For boots, we can get extra initiative and a little more defense. For body armor, we can get more defense and more health. For a helmet, we can get a little more health. And for bow, we can focus more on attack, and specifically we gain Flying Slayer too, so we'll be better against flying units as opposed to the point blank power of the crossbow. And of course the crossbow lets us use this shield as well. We'll stick with this. Now we can improve our damage, but that replaces our little necklace here. Improve damage, 10% extra damage, or Minor Faction Slayer. Frightening symbols of power and authority, these bracers cause fear and confusion in simpler civilizations. Bracers of law. 20% extra damage against minor faction units, so non-player. Interesting. We'll go with increased movement, and we'll keep our titanium stocked. And then we can call it, let's call it skirmishers, as we've got some defense, some attack. We're fully decked out, and we're fast. Once you're happy to enter in, you can end your turn when you're ready. Are we ready? What's our build? We got this dye extractor coming up. Let's get the... no. I don't want to buy it out. I could... and this army hasn't... we've got one movement left. Note that searching doesn't take an action, right? We're out of action points. We can't attack anyone anymore. But we can totally still search this ruin. We found nothing. And that's a glass steel deposit. Now we want to search for more goodies. Note that pacification quests, I feel like they usually involve things within your own region, but they can go outside. All right, seed storage research was completed. We can now build the city improvement seed storage, which will give us more food during the summer and more and generally increased food from the whole city all the time. And then there's nothing to research, so heroes are coming up. We still have, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 technologies from tier 1 have been researched, which means we get 4 more. I'm a big fan of city approval and sewers in general. This increases the amount of dust. So from this research, we get two buildings we can build. A dust dredger and dust filtration. One is for rivers, one is for lakes or seas, and they increase the amount of dust we get from being next to these things, exploiting such things. City improvement money, that's a nice basic. Dawn officer gives us this cavalry unit. Right now we can only build marines. Marketplace unlocks mercenaries and unlocks heroes section of the marketplace. I think we're going to need to do that. Let's leave this for now. Open the Academy screen. This is the Academy screen where all the heroes of your empire will be listed. Unlike standard units, heroes can get injured but cannot be killed on the battleground. So heroes are actual units in this game. To be of use, a hero has to be assigned to an army as a general or to a city as a governor. Depending on their profile and their hero skills, they'll give different bonuses to their army or city. Click on Inspect or double-click on your hero in the Academy screen. So we'll inspect him. Avara Lazmak III. Unlike standard units, heroes can instantly equip new items. So once you pay for it, he has it immediately. As long as they're in the academy or located within your territory, you can immediately spend the resources required to change their equipment. Click on the skill tree to learn about hero XP and skill points. So we could say, when we made the skirmisher marine type unit, we have to build those or you have to upgrade previous units to that specific design. Once we have this hero, we can just say, here, put on these bracers, boom. It'll cost us 3 titanium and 10 industry or money equivalent. I think you have to pay money. And he will, boom, have those bracers. skill tree, and hero XP. At each level, your heroes will earn 1 additional skill point to spend on their skills. Hero XP can be earned through battles, like any unit, but also through constructions as a governor or through the use of some army actions as an army general, like search or completing quests. In normal games, more advanced features will be revealed through the unlock of new technologies or by dealing with other empires. The marketplace is one of these, and it gives you, among other things, the possibility to recruit new heroes for your empire. You can now assign your first hero to an army or your city. Once assigned, a defined number of turns must pass before the hero can be reassigned to a new city or as a military hero. Note that hero assignments can also be performed directly from a city or an army. This covers the basics you need to know how to play Endless Legend. End your turn when you are ready to finish the tutorial and lead your empire. Alright, let's make sure all our dudes are doing stuff first. Can we upgrade these guys right now? So we can assign a hero here. We'll assign Avara Lasmak III. So he's got long range. He's similar to a Marine himself. Note that he gets 3 XP per turn, just for being out there. And he has he has double the upkeep cost of our Marines. You can detach your leader. And let's see. Oops. So if you accidentally do that, you can then just merge the armies. We didn't actually waste any XP, but let's move into this other region. So this is a new region. It's not Splat anymore. And that means there'll be a new minor faction and the ability to found a new city. Alright, that's done. Oh yeah, we forgot to research. Let's go ahead and grab this money dust research here. 5 additional dust when we build it, and 15% more dust on the city in general. Alright, so Burrow Streets was completed. Congratulations, you have now learned the basics and are ready to start exploring Endless Legend and Auriga. Many other subtleties and features are waiting for you, especially with all the different major faction gameplay elements to discover. Get ready to battle against other empires sharing the world of Auriga, and good luck. Phwop completed the tutorial. Woot! Alright, there you go, my friends. I know it took a while. I'm going to leave you with that. Hopefully we'll be playing BleakHaus. We'll be playing more of this together, and if you have a copy of the game and want to join in, that'd be great. I believe anyone who plays with me has access to all the expansions I own, and I own all the expansions. So feel free to let me know if you want to play some Endless Legends, as it's an awesome game full of technology, magic, diplomacy, and really, really nice mechanics. So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more Endless Legend or other videos by me, then subscribe. And as always, remember that it's all downhill from here.